it'll be Danny Henney on pole position on the reverse grid for this one. Andrew Sexton will start alongside him in the yellow and black number 59 car. Then Alex Smith and Alex Jonesma on the second row of the grid. Remember, Jonesma spun on the opening lap. He recovered nicely and has himself a nice grid position for this race. Nicholas Carladale and James Caswell on row 3. Then Adrian Clark and EJ Anderson on row 4. Jose O'Donnell and then Gregor Gomes. He will start in 10th place. And then we have the top guys from the feature race. Daniel Cook starts 11th. And then Colton Myers, we were just talking about him, he starts in 12th. Alex McBride, Stephen Williams, Colin Ward, Lucas Raskovitz, Richard Spanners ready, David Hatton, Alexander Dobertsberger, and of course our race 1 winner, Kyle Power, starts in 20th place. As the red lights are on and we're about to get underway for the first of 2 reverse grid races at round 4 of the Missed Apex iRacing F3 Cup at Silverstone. Away they go. It is a clean start, crucially, for Danny Henney, just what he needed, and he will lead going into the first corner. Alex Jonesma is trying to get up on the inside. Big collision further back. I think that may well have involved Stephen Williams. We will check later, but there is Drillsma. He's up into 3rd place already. Sexton in 2nd place there, going a little wide into Village, and that has put Jonesma right on his back bumper. And he will be under pressure down towards Brooklands for the first time. Jonesma in the slipstream. He's going to go towards the inside into the next left-hander, and Jonesma doing exactly what he needed to do. Although Sexton's going to fight it around the outside, and he will have the line into left field, but Jonesma has got his whole car in front of the nose of Andrew Sexton there, and he gets himself into 2nd place and can now set his sight on Danny Henney, the race leader, who already has a 1.3 second lead.
Williams did make it through. It was actually Alex McBride who had a bit of a flighty time there out of the first one, and Daniel Cook as well, both involved in an incident into turn 1.
Okay, apologies to the Stephen Williams fans in the chat. He is, in fact, in 9th place, I can see there. I just saw a flash of green fly past in the back of shot and thought it might well be him. So he is continuing there in 9th place, but of course his championship rival, Danny Henney, is leading the way. Williams there up into 8th place now, we can see. He's on the back of Gregor Gomes, actually, down the hanger straight. And they're going to go side by side into Stowe Corner, just in front of Colton Myers there, the silver class leader. It's Williams on the outside there. It will give him the inside line for the Vale chicane. And Gomes has already put some marks on his car tonight, but they don't make contact. And Gregor Gomes survives there in 7th place and just losing touch now with the back of Adrian Clark in 6th place. But Williams going to try again as Gomes goes defensive into Abbey. And Stephen Williams, the man who was leading the championship coming into this round, looking at the back of Gregor Gomes, who was in touching distance of victory in the feature race before contact with Danny Henney put them both down the order. But Williams trying to, on a recovery drive himself, having had an incident way before any of that happened in the feature race, trying to get back up the order. Currently in 8th, but looking at the back of Gomes for 7th. There's Kyle Power, we just saw behind them. Got Colton Myers between them, but Kyle Power, the race 1 winner, coming through the pack nicely in 10th place there.
I am very glad you didn't say to Danny that he was within touching distance. So Kyle Power, as you said, is now in 10th place, and he's looking to the inside on Colton Myers. This looks like this is going to make this move stick. Sensibly backs out of it, so that's Power up position into 9th.
Sorry, Gomes just in front of them. It was just out of show, but Gregor Gomes dropped it out of Cop's corner. That's a free place gain for Williams and, of course, Power. We have a time penalty there for Taro Tylus further down the field. That is a 30-second stop-go he's been given. That is a harsh penalty. I believe contact with Dobertsberger, I've heard in my ear. But this man, Danny Henney, 1.4 seconds. Oh, it was Matt Trumpets, excuse me. Yeah, this man, Danny Henney, 1.4 seconds clear of Alex Jonesma. And doing everything he had to right the wrongs of race 1. Meanwhile, Stephen Williams there in 7th place, about to make up 2 places down the pit straight. managed to get past Nicholas Carladal there and is about to put a move on Adrian Clark as well.
Yeah, he's managed to take 2 of them in one straight, so that was great from him. The 2 in front of him were squabbling. Kyle Power is also making his way through that little gaggle as well. So those 2 making good progress up to 5th and what is currently 7th, about to be 6th for Kyle as he goes down the inside, down the old Wellington straight.
Yeah, no defence from Clark here on the way into Brooklands. And Power goes through. So Williams and Power seem to be working in tandem here. Some good tactics going on between these 2, and they're coming up through the field very nicely indeed. Wouldn't be surprised to see one of these 2 men on the podium. They've got Alex Smith and Andrew Sexton next up, and then of course Julesburg and Henny, the top 2 at the moment, and then maybe we'll see these 2 fight it out at the end.
Well, we might even see a battle for the lead coming up fairly shortly, because that battle is starting to tighten up a bit. It was 1.5 seconds, it's dropped down to 1.3, 1.2. Is this point in the race where Danny starts to overcook those tyres slightly, and Drillsma maybe is able to keep it a little bit smoother, a little bit cooler on those tyres?
Well, we'll certainly watch the lap times unfold. They both did a 51.4 last time around. Just to go back to Stephen Williams there in 5th place, right on the back of Alex Smith now as well. Worth mentioning David Hatton we can see coming through the field as well behind them as Williams goes for a lunge down the inside of the Vale chicane, and no arguments from Alex Smith as he lets Williams and Power go. And there we just see in the back of shot David Hatton there in 7th place coming through the pack as well. And if he pulls this one off into Abbey, which indeed he does, then he's now pretty much line astern with Williams and Power as well.
And Power is putting a bit of pressure on Williams. He wants to get up onto that podium, so he's trying to see if he can rattle Williams a little bit. He's all over the back of him, Chris, coming down the Wellington straight again. He might be close enough to make a move this time round.
Yeah, he may well be. There's a good slipstream that he's got here. What is Power going to do with this? Williams goes defensive to the inside, and he will get the undercut on him there, the old crisscross, but nothing doing down at Luffield. I wondered if they might squabble later in the race, or prefer to just get themselves up the order first. Well, they think they're high enough at the moment. Power going towards the inside of Copse Corner, had a great run out of Luffield and takes 5th place away from Stephen Williams. I wonder how compliant Williams was in that move.
He did make some defence, but that is how you do it. Copse Corner is definitely not one you want to go side by side through, as we've seen many times in Formula 1, that it just doesn't work that well. So Williams seeing if he can drag himself back into this fight down the hanger straight. He's got another good toe, moves to the outside to try and break that a little bit, Chris.
Yeah, Power having to go defensive into Stowe, and Williams trying the move that Power put on him, the old up and under. No way that he'll get down the inside of the Vale chicane, so he's just got to sit in the wheel tracks for a few corners. Remember, they're not on the podium just yet. They've got Alex Smith in front of them, and then Andrew Sexton on the podium as well.
Yeah, they've got a couple of places to make up, and there's a good 3 seconds to that car in front, so they're going to have to be pretty wily. They might not want to fight. They might want to do an Alpine at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and fight too hard against each other and see if they can drag each other towards the podium positions, and then fight later on.
You all know my feelings on that.
Absolutely, and they're just wrong. We had a great battle. I think Kyle seems to have the legs for the moment on Stephen Williams. Maybe Williams has decided to, as I say, drag himself along, because they are now within a second and a half of Alex Smith. So that gap is coming down with 5 laps to go on the clock.
Yeah, this great battle with Hatton as well. You know, there's 3 cars covered by a little over a second at the moment, as Power just runs a little wide on the exit of Copse Corner there, feeling the pressure from Stephen Williams. Perhaps, speaking of pressure, Alex Jonesberg took 0.2 of a second out of the race leader Danny Henny last time around. The lead gap down to 1 second. So we will continue to monitor those lap times as the race unfolds. We are currently towards the end of lap 5 of 10 in this reverse grid sprint race. And 1 second separating the top 2 at the moment, and a little over that separating the 3 cars battling over 5th place as well.
Time for a safety car, isn't it, Chris? Where's the button?
We'll work on that for next season. And I must say, Andrew Sexton and Alex Smith doing a sterling job to be holding those 3rd and 4th places at the moment, which, you know, of course, we're not used to seeing them in these lofty positions, but of course that's the beauty of the reverse grid races. Oh no! Yeah. What have I said? Alex Smith has dropped it. What did I say?
Oh, disaster. Just as we were coming up, he got it squirrely on the way into the corner, couldn't control it on the power on the way out. He's done a little donut, so he hopefully won't have lost too many places there. But no, that is an absolute shame for him. He's now gone back down to, I think it's P13, 14, 15 now. 15, he's just been overtaken by John Cox and Van Gien. Oh, that's such a shame. Well, hopefully he'll be in position to do it again for race 3.
Well, a free place gained for Power, Williams and Hatton, and that of course puts completely clean air in the 2.8 second gap it is to Andrew Sexton for the last spot on the podium. And well, one of these 3 men will end up on it, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. So, as you say, there's only 2.5 seconds ahead to Andrew Sexton. Coming back down the field a little bit, we've got Spanners ready in a very respectable 10th place. He's managed to fight his way through under pressure from Adrian Clark. And that is his old arch nemesis, Colin Ward, just down the road in that wonderful 90s Rothmans Williams.
Yeah, and Alex Van Gien not far behind them as well, in 13th place as well.
Watching Adrian Clark go through Stowe Corner there, these cars are so light and nimble, it's just beautiful to watch them dancing through the corner just on the edge of adhesion. Spanner's just missed the apex slightly there, but as is very warrant of his name, and that might put him under pressure coming into the start of this next lap.
Could well do. This of course will put him in roughly the same spot on the grid for the next race as well, so they're battling for, you know, a grid spot in the next race as well as points for this one as well. We're on board with Clark as they go through the loop section. And down the Wellington straight they come. Clark's got a bit of a toe here on Spanners. Now Spanners said he was going to get his elbows out, battling for the Gold Driver Championship, and Clark shows his nose down the inside, and Spanners goes wide of the mark there into Brocklands. But that of course gives him the high ground for Luffield, and he's able to hold the advances of Adrian Clark for another few corners. Oh, side by side for 6th place. 6th and 5th being disputed there between Williams and Hatton. Hatton had a great run out of Luffield, was alongside Williams into Copse Corner, and you see now how much Carl Power has gapped those 2 cars as they were fighting for position. And just to give you an update at the front of the field as well, Henny has responded to the lap times of Alex Jones, about a 10th quicker last time around. But here comes Hatton again, making the move for 5th place. Williams goes defensive. Hatton picks one way, go the other side, then the other. Going to go around the outside of Stowe Corner though. And this is great racing once again between these 2. But it's Hatton who's come out on top with the line into the Vale chicane. And once again, Stephen Williams finds himself going backwards.
That was a beautiful move around the outside there. I don't think Williams is done. He's got a great exit coming onto the pit straight. Made Hatton have to go defensive.
Certainly does. So he's got his car alongside him as they go into Abbey. Has to tuck back behind them though as they swing into the right-hander. It'll be under braking. The next opportunity to reclaim that position, but Hatton has got a good left foot underneath him.
He does. That gap was so tempting just to sling it down the inside, but he knew he was probably going to lose a front wing if he did that. And speaking of sensible, Spanners Ready was very, very sensible there, not defending clear air. He's got Adrian Clark still half a second behind him, battling over that 10th place still. Spanners now somewhat defending thin air as he's gone to break the toe, but he is a long way ahead. So that battle seems to be pegged for the moment.
Certainly does, and well, I'm just fascinated in this battle for 5th place involving the pre-event championship leader Stephen Williams and David Hatton, who we haven't talked an awful lot about so far this season. The man who won the first Formula Renault Challenge season and has only just in that feature race scored his first podium of the season.
He's been on the fringes, hasn't he? But he's never quite had that. He's had good qualifying pace. We've always said that when the pressure's on and when the moment comes, David can nail a lap. But he hasn't seemed to have strung a full race performance together and have that last percentage point that makes him able to fight with Danny and Drillsma and those sorts of guys. But he's doing very well this race. Up in P5, that is a good result for the beast.
Certainly is. Definitely one of the most identifiable cars out in the field. I do love that Monster Energy livery that he runs on that car, the 666, the number of the beast, and it's Beast Energy on the side of that car. And we'll need some Beast Energy to try and close up that gap to Kyle Power that has been created while he was squabbling with Stephen Williams there. Power, meanwhile, is closing in on that final spot on the podium, which is currently being held by Andrew Sexton, doing a great job up there in 3rd place at the moment. Just 1 second separates those two cars at the moment, and only 8 tenths now separating Henny and Drillsma up at the front of the field. Drillsma's been chipping away at that gap. It was 2 tenths quicker again for Drillsma last time around, so Henny was able to respond the last time that happened. So let's see what Henny's got this time. They have completely left the rest of the field for dust though. 9-10 seconds over the rest of the field.
They have, and Drillsma's done incredibly well. He's obviously a very favourite of this track with his with his performance in the Marlin Cup that we had. So he's very familiar with this circuit, and he's putting in a fantastic performance. There is a back marker looming in the distance to just keep a close watch on. That's Mike Stoner. Hopefully he's realised and has actually just thrown himself off the circuit. There he goes. So that luckily won't be getting in the way. I don't think Danny needs any more drama coming into the final part of this race, Chris.
Yeah, his eyes will be on stalks for things like that. He'll be looking for anything that can deny him at this late stage. Just coming across the line now to start the final lap of the race, though, and with that advantage, it's Henny's to lose at this point, so he just needs one tidy lap to bring home the win that was denied in the feature race. Meanwhile, Kyle Power desperately trying to close that gap down to 3rd place, and just about half a second as they break down for the loop section. It will be a very late move indeed for Power to try and get onto the podium in this reverse grid race. Coming down towards Brooklands for the final time. Still Power not close enough. I mean, Sexton is handling the pressure fantastically, it must be said, to maintain a place on the podium here, and what I believe will be his first in the F3 Cup as well, which is great news in a way. I mean, I'm running out of space on my my stat sheet for all these names that are ending up on there. I believe it will be a first podium for Andrew Sexton at this rate. But the leader's coming down the hangar straight for the last time. Sorry, Chris, the leader's coming down the hangar straight for the last time. I would be nervous for Henny, given how close that Alex has been able to get to the back of that car. Just 0.6 of a second now, but as Henny comes round Stowe Corner and approaches the final 3 corners, it looks like nothing's going to separate him. And victory for Danny Henny. Comes round the final corner now. Danny Henny takes the victory in the first of the 2 reverse grid races at Silverstone. Alex Drillsma piled on the pressure, just half a second in it in the end, but he takes second place.
Speaking of pressure, Kyle Power is drawing alongside as they're coming up to the finishing line, and I think Sexton just holds it by less than 1/10 of a second on the line. That was so close. Sorry to cut across you, Chris.
That was brilliant stuff. Just 92 thousandths of a second between those two. And Andrew Sexton claims his first podium in the F3 Cup. Well, remarkable stuff. And congratulations to Sexton. Power still a good haul of points there after the victory in the feature race. And Williams, 6th place. Damage limitation for the pre-event championship leader there. And, Richard Spanner's ready. A top 10 finish as well, ahead of Alex Van Gien.
It was when joined in the booth by Kyle Power, who nearly got a podium there to make a wonderful weekend for him, but it was so close on the line there, Kyle.
Oh, nearly, and all credit to Andrew Sexton. I was putting him under all sorts of horrible pressure, and I know exactly how that feels like, and it's not nice, but he had a really good pace, and he kept his cool, and I just couldn't quite get close enough in the last lap, sorry.
That's it, and obviously starting in P20, the carbon fibre zone, as we like to call it, you managed to keep your nose clean this time round, which is always good for your title ambitions.
Oh, absolutely. Well, title ambitions are always about, I know I'm probably not quick enough or good enough to win it, but just pure consistency and bloody mindedness can probably keep me in the top 3. So I just keep wanting to get points. And yeah, I was very cautious on the first lap, but quite fortunate as well. Made a few of the correct decisions, while other people weren't so fortunate and got caught up in accidents. So the key was just to get into an elevated position quite early on and then let the race settle down and see where I'm at. So I was quite fortunate that the cookie crumbled my way, as it did in race 1. So we'll see what race 3 brings.
That's it, and we saw you having a great battle with Stephen Williams and David Hatton behind, and you weren't content to sit behind Williams and drag the both of you up to the podium. You thought you'd have a go yourself.
Well, yeah, Williams has got absolutely amazing pace, so I was actually initially quite happy to sit behind him, but for whatever reason, he seemed like he was struggling a bit on pace. Maybe he was looking after his tyres, and I just thought, I've got a chance here. I might as well just go for it, and I went for it, and it paid off because luckily he started squabbling with David Hatton behind, who I know has got ballistic pace, and that gave me a little bit of breathing room and a chance to go and hunt Andrew down without too much pressure. So, the strategy worked out nicely.
We love to see it. Good, happy hunting in race 3, Kyle.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's take a look at the results for Race 2, the first of the reverse grid sprint races for round 4 of the Missed Apex iRacing F3 Cup at Silverstone. Danny Henney takes the victory, his 4th of the season, ahead of Alex Johnsma, who claims his 4th podium of the season. His 3rd podium of the season, excuse me. A first podium for Andrew Sexton there, just ahead of Kyle Power. David Hatton in 5th. Stephen Williams collecting valuable points for the championship there in 6th. Mark Greenhout, Colin Ward, Lucas Raskowitz, and Richard Spanner's ready. That is the top 10. And then gaining in the reverse grid will be Alex Van Gien, Barry Kemp, Adrian Clark. John Cox there will start in 7th place there, having finished 14th. And also just missed out on reverse grid pole in the last race. Colton Myers, James Caswell, John Langan, Alex Smith, Matt Cook, and Alexander Dobbsberger, your top 20. We'll be right back as we take another short break with race 3, the final of the night.